Have you ever noticed how hard a stone is? But what happens if water runs through it all the time? Water can dismantle stone, right? This is what we will see in today's story, and this subject is not about stones or water. My friends, stay here and let's discover the love story between Duque Ryan and Alice, his maid. Duque Ryan was a guy who had a lot of land on the border of King Tyler's kingdom. He was a very important boss and had many helpers and workers. Ryan was a super strong warrior and always protected the king's lands. The king trusted him a lot to take care of everything correctly. Ryan's castle was right on the edge of the kingdom, in a super important place to protect everyone. Ryan was a young warrior, very handsome, brave and strong. Everyone in the kingdom knew him, not only because he defended the king's lands, but also because he really liked to have fun and enjoy life by giving in to his desires with women. He loved to fight and really enjoyed winning women's hearts. He was enchanted by the female figure and often had a special way of enchanting them all. Almost always, Ryan got the affection and attention of the girls, because he was very charming and handsome. Women of nobility found it difficult to resist the charm of this handsome young seducer. Ryan was courageous and very charming, and this made women of that time enchanted by him. He loved to enjoy the good things in life and knew very well how to do so. But Ryan's big secret was to deeply understand women's hearts. He knew exactly how to win them over, especially those who didn't feel loved by their partners. With his charm, he managed to win their hearts without much effort. Ryan was a great conqueror, and everyone who fell under his spell felt special. There was no secret to his art of seduction. He always promised moments of pleasure and satisfaction, without causing problems, and this brought joy to many noble women. In battle, Ryan was strong and fierce, but in his moments of intimacy, he was attentive, discreet, seductive and delicate in his gestures. Ryan knew well what he was doing. One day, after returning from a great battle, he saw among his adjutants a woman he had never noticed before. At dinner time, Ryan asked her to serve him so he could get to know her better, because he found her very interesting and tempting. Alice, who had recently started serving at the castle, approached Ryan cautiously, aware of his reputation as a ladies' man. He asked with interest, "What is his name?" "My name is Alice, sir," replied the girl. "How have I never seen you around here before?" Ryan asked, curious. "I'm here replacing my mother, who is very ill, sir," said Alice to the Marquis. From that moment on, Ryan was determined to win Alice's trust and affections. That same night, before going to sleep, he tried to seduce her, asking Alice to take tea to her room. Alice complied with Ryan's request. When she reached the bedroom door, she saw that it was ajar. Carefully, she entered silently, placed the tea tray on a desk, and prepared to leave. It was then that she noticed Ryan sitting in an armchair behind the door, looking at her with a look full of desire. Alice was surprised to notice the intense shine in Ryan's eyes and prepared to leave. "Wait a moment, Alice. Please serve me tea," said Ryan. Annoyed, Alice prepared the tea in the cup and approached him to deliver it. "Come and have tea with me, Alice. I don't like drinking alone." Ryan stood up from the chair where he was sitting, providing Alice with a close view of his athletic body and the physical attributes of this skilled knight, accustomed to combat both on the battlefield and in intimate moments. Alice felt a sensation similar to being on the edge of an abyss, about to plunge into the deepest and most mysterious precipice. He noticed Alice's emotional sensitivity in his presence and smiled with satisfaction, knowing that she was not immune to his charm. Even so, Alice composed herself, remembering the stories of Ryan's conquests and seductions, known to everyone in the kingdom. "It's a shame I can't share this tea with you, sir, as I only brought one cup." Alice said this, opening the door and quickly leaving the room. With Alice's hasty departure, Ryan smiled widely, feeling even more intrigued by this woman who, by resisting his advances, made the game of seduction even more engaging for him. When she went to bed to sleep, Alice, still impacted by her closeness to Ryan, remembered her mother's words about conquering men. "Daughter, men who seduce have an engaging smile, and every woman should be aware of that. They are recognized for their imposing posture, broad shoulders, robust chest, high head and calculated movements, which convey confidence and calm. They are elegant, fragrant, and true masters in the art of seducing women, capable of winning them over easily, said Alice's mother, accurately describing the characteristics of a seductive man. However, she forgot to mention one important detail: a man like that is persistent, my friends. When they decide to win someone over with their charms, they don't give up easily. That's exactly what Ryan did. From that night onwards, he realized that he had a great chance of winning the affection of the fascinating Alice. Ryan returned to the attack the next morning. Early on, he asked Alice to help him organize his office. Alice thought, "My God, I'm going to have to spend the whole day in this office with Ryan." She introduced herself to Ryan to start work. "Good morning, Alice. Shall we start tidying up?" Ryan said, with a gentle smile on his lips. Alice nodded and began to tidy up what was out of place. She avoided looking directly at Ryan, afraid that she wouldn't be able to resist her charms. Throughout the day, she tried to escape his intense gazes, his seductive smile, his soft voice, the pleasant perfume he exuded, and the enveloping presence that always seemed close to her. What a complicated situation, right? With Ryan's seduction game all day, he was now hooked. By the end of the afternoon, it was Ryan who was most in love. He had already had many women in his arms, without having to try very hard to win them over. But the woman in front of him was completely unique. She didn't give in easily and avoided eye contact at all costs. She decided to change her strategy. It would be direct. That night, Ryan once again asked Alice to serve him tea. The door was ajar, as it had been the day before. Alice, anticipating that Ryan's approach would be similar to the day before, placed the tea tray on the desk and turned to look at the armchair behind the door. To his surprise, Ryan wasn't sitting there. Alice looked around and saw him smiling at her from a corner of the room. "Well, I see you didn't bring another cup again, but this time I have one here. Let's have tea together," said Ryan. He prepared the 2 cups and asked Alice to sit next to her. As he took his first sip of tea, Ryan said, "I realize you know how much I long to hold you in my arms. Why do you run away from my affection, Alice? Am I not to your liking?" he asked. She quite surprised, he said, "That's not it, sir. It's not about whether I like it or not. Our worlds are different, and you are used to women who seek only fleeting moments of pleasure in your arms. I am an ordinary woman from the people, but I have a deep desire. I want to have someone by my side not just for fleeting moments of pleasure, but for life. I dream of a family, children, being a man's only companion. This, despite all your prestige and being so coveted by so many women, is not something you can provide me." The Duke, despite being upset, captured the point of view of that simple and charming woman. Never before had a woman rejected her advances, and he was deeply touched by the words she heard. From that night on, Ryan no longer requested any special favors from her, but he couldn't hide his desire to have her by his side. Ryan continued to watch her from afar with a look full of desire and passion, but he controlled himself. Alice bravely resisted Ryan's seductive advances, but almost succumbed to her master's charms, for she also deeply craved the affections of his hands and the sweet kisses of his mouth. The noble ladies discreetly commented that something had changed with Ryan, as they hadn't heard of any romance of his for days. They all felt disappointed that they no longer had that handsome, virile man seeking them out to share the most luxurious pleasures imaginable. What happened to Ryan? They asked each other. Yes, my friends, love is capable of transforming the most voracious into meek lambs. Ryan only had eyes and desires for Alice. One night, Alice was alone in the castle kitchen, preparing bread for breakfast, when she heard a noise coming from the living room. Curious, Alice held a lamp as she approached the location to investigate the sudden noise. To her surprise, there was Ryan, watching her from afar in the darkness. Still astonished by his presence, she asked, "Sir, how can I help you?" He emerged from the shadows and with a look full of affection, declared, "I'm sorry, Alice, if I scared you. I can't sleep or do anything other than think about you. I need you. I want to have her in my arms. I long for your affection. I am consumed with desire and passion." I have never wanted a woman as much as I want you. I am your master, it is true, but you have become the owner of my heart." Kneeling before her, he pleaded, "Accept my affection, Alice." The great conqueror was captivated by her former target. This gesture and these expressions completely demolished all of Alice's resistance. It was extremely challenging for her to remain immune to the Marquis's attractions until then, but, like a wall collapsing, she succumbed. She hugged him and surrendered to her charms with lots of kisses and affection, something she had already imagined happening for many days. As Ryan and Alice indulged in the love that blossomed between them, the castle hummed with intrigue and curiosity. News of Duque Ryan's change of heart spread like wildfire among the servants and nobles of the kingdom. Details were discussed, from the whispers exchanged in the corridors to the secret meetings in the gardens. The ladies who once vied for his attention now saw with perplexity how a simple woman of the people had conquered not only his body, but also his heart. Ryan and Alice found a new life together in love, defying the conventions and roles predefined by society. The Duke, once a master of seduction and battles, now discovered in Alice not just a lover, but a companion who shared his dreams and values. Together they built a family, with children running through the halls of the castle that had once witnessed only their solitary adventures. As time passed, the story of Ryan and Alice became the stuff of legend, reminding everyone that true love can transcend the strictest expectations and transform even the most hardened hearts. Did you like the story of the Duke and Alice? Like and subscribe to my channel for more engaging and exciting narratives like this. Don't miss the next stories and dive into worlds of love, adventure, and mystery. Click here to sign up now.